guys, welcome back to my channel, Gracie's Faith Journey. Today I am talking about temptation, and the reason why I'm talking about temptation is because if you have been following me for a long period of time, you know that this week is a very important week for me. I'm getting baptized, so I decided to make a little segment or chapter of my YouTube channel where I post videos every day until the day I get baptized, well, including the day I get baptized. And each day I talk about different things. So Monday I talked about why I'm getting baptized and what getting baptized means to me. Tuesday I talked about things that I take for granted for God. I don't remember what I titled the video, but that's basically what I talked about, was the things I take for granted. Wednesday I talked about points in my life or events in my life that have shown me that God is real. So today I'm talking about temptation and how I fight my temptation. So before I get into that, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. And today, our new location, since I didn't say yesterday's location, I was sitting in the grass behind me, and you probably can't see it. Yesterday's location, I was sitting down there in one of those trees. I don't remember which one. So today's location, I'm sitting on a cooler. You guys are on the bench that is on the porch, and you are facing the road. So that's today's location, and let's get started. Okay, so in the intro, like I said, today we're talking about temptation. But before I do get started with temptation, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to share my favorite Bible verse with you, which I have on my wrist today because I got it from the FCA that I talked about the other day with Cheyenne. Matthew 19:26. With God, all things are possible. That is a verse that I live by, and that is a verse that I use a lot when it comes to this YouTube channel. So you're going to hear that a lot, and I say that in every beginning of every video of my favorite Bible verse is Matthew 19:26, with God all things are possible. And I do ask you after every video to comment your favorite Bible verse. My brother was just staring at me through the window. Scared the crap out of me. So if you can, comment your favorite Bible verse. I'd love to be able to get to know your guys' favorite Bible verse, because then that gives me more Bible verses to love. So, yeah, that's that. But anyways, today we're talking about temptation and the way that I stop temptation. I get temptation a lot when I get bored, which is a very honest thing. And some people like to say, I don't know how I want to say this, but temptation is real. Temptation happens no matter how long you've been following God for. But there are ways to fight temptation. Some people say fighting temptation requires prayer, and sometimes it does, but everybody works different and everybody has a different way of doing things. So my way of getting rid of temptation is not prayer. I will talk about that in a second. But there is one thing that I want to share before I get into temptation. I see this a lot on my Pinterest. Stop worrying about not sinning or not giving into temptation, and start worrying about getting closer to God, because the closer you get to God, the less you want to commit sin and the less you give into temptation. That is something I live by when it comes to temptation. But being a teenage girl in my generation, it is hard to not give into temptation. Temptation is definitely a peer thing. It's not like peer pressure. Just being around certain people gives into that temptation. So what I do when it comes to giving into that temptation is, what do I do? Oh, the first thing I do is, if I'm on my phone and I get this sudden urge to give in to the temptation, I shut my phone off, put my phone out of reach, and get up out of bed and go talk to somebody about anything I could ever talk about. And then sometimes those conversations don't last very long because I'm talking to somebody while they're busy doing something else. So if that doesn't work, I try to grab my Bible and I read my Bible and I study my Bible and all this and all that. Actually, no. That's the last thing I do. If the conversation doesn't work, I turn on my worship playlist and come outside and just worship the Lord, because it shifts my mind to the Lord instead of the temptation. So that definitely works a lot. And then after that whole worship session, my mind still is on the verge of giving in to the temptation. So after that, I get my Bible, I get my devotional, and I study the Bible, and I read the Bible, and I do my devotional. And at that point, I'm like off the temptation, but I still need something more. And that something more is definitely prayer. So prayer is my last option that I have, but it's always the first option that I ever have is get off your phone, get out of bed, and go talk to somebody about anything you could ever, the first thing that comes to mind, which is sometimes stupid and random, but at least it stops me from giving into temptation. And if that conversation doesn't work, I worship, and then at that point I still need a little bit more, so that I read my Bible, study my Bible, and work on my devotional. At that point, I need to pray to get my body, like my mind is off the temptation, but my body is still on the temptation. So the prayer gives my mind and my body off the temptation, and then my whole system is on the same page. Sorry, I gotta watch my dog because the neighbor's dog is out, and my dog likes to run off. So if you see me doing this, it's because I'm checking for my dog. But yeah, that's what I do, is I get off my phone, I get up and talk, and then I go to worship, and then I go to Bible and devotional, and then I go to prayer. So prayer is definitely my last option, because like I said in videos before, when I used to pray, I repeated my prayer. It was the same prayer every night, and it never changed. Which is weird, like why would I do that? But it was the beginning of my relationship with God, so I had no idea what to say. And like I said in my one video before, oh, and by the way, if you've never watched any of my videos, I ask you to go back to the very first video from Monday this week, and then watch Monday's video, then go to Tuesday's video, then watch Wednesday's video, then watch today. That way we're all caught up with everything and you understand me as a person, instead of just going straight from temptation to everything else and not knowing anything about me. And even if you watch all these videos for this week and you're like, well, I want to get to know her more, go back to my very first video and watch that, and then watch up, so you understand my whole pathway. But yes, that's what I do when it comes to temptation, is I get up, I worship, I read, I study, and then I pray. It could be pray, study, read, worship, get up, but it could be anything. Like, there could be some ways to get rid of temptation is to just sit in silence. Put everything away from you and just sit in silence. Honestly, I'm just making these up. But I do feel like if you shut your phone off, completely off, shut the TV off, close the blinds, and just sat in silence, or listen to worship music in the dark, that would stop you from your temptation. Or just laying in bed with your headphones on at full volume, listening to worship music, or listening to a Christian podcast. Or if you read the Bible too fast, maybe find a podcast that reads the Bible for you and listen to that as you're laying in your bed, trying to get rid of temptation. Temptation is real. Temptation is hard, and it's hard especially in this world and time of day and generation. But I would like to know if you have dealt with temptation before. You don't have to tell me what the temptation is. Temptation is between you and God knows everything. And you don't have to tell me what the temptation is, but I would like to know how you stop yourself from doing temptation. Or if you have temptation and you want to stop giving into that temptation, reach out to me through comments. Again, I will not be able to reply to your comments, but I will see them through notification. And I will post a video about it. And I guarantee by the end of this week on Monday, next week I'll probably do where I'll have you guys ask me questions about anything and just do a little Q&A. That way I can answer your guys' questions, because I can't do it through comments due to parental controls. But temptation is real. It has always been real. There is nothing you can do about it. One of the things that I did for temptation before I said the big yes, but I knew I wanted to stop the temptation, was I got up and I performed my own concert on the sidewalk. I put a playlist of my favorite songs that I knew word for word, and I performed it on the sidewalk like I was on a stage. Or like a month before I went to the Descendant Zombies Worlds Collide tour, I made the playlist of the songs. I made my own dances, and I pretend I was performing the Descendant Zombies Worlds Collide tour on my sidewalk. Okay, there are so many ways that you could stop your temptation. You just gotta put the effort into doing it. And I like to say, do what entertains you to stop your temptation. Because I guarantee you, one thing that does not entertain me is drawing. So it's not like I'm gonna sit there and draw as a way to stop my temptation, because that makes me want to give into the temptation more. That's why I found music or reading or pretend performing to get rid of my temptation, because that is what makes me feel good or entertains me. Use the things that you like to stop your temptation. Don't use mine, use yours. Because I don't want you, especially if you're not a music person, if you're like, I hate music. Well, if you hate music, there's something wrong with you. I'm joking. But you're like, I don't want to sit and listen to music for hours. Like, that's not my thing. Maybe I want to draw and listen to music. Okay, then do that as your way to stopping temptation. If you're not a performer type of person, then don't do the performing and do what makes you happy to stop your temptation. Or if you like playing video games, go ahead, play video games to stop your temptation. This video is not me telling you what to do. It's me giving you ideas. I'm not telling you, well, you need to worship and perform a fake concert. Like, you do not need to do that if that does not please you. Do what pleases you to get rid of the temptation. And if I'm being completely honest with you, this is completely off track, but when I first made my videos, I'm not gonna lie, I made a script. And so if you go back and watch my videos, you see me staring off screen because I'm reading the script. But with these videos, I wanted them to be real because they are about my story and why I had all this baptism thing. And honestly, without this script, I am saying things I never thought I would ever say. So I think I might do this more often, but this was my very first couple videos. I had no idea what I was doing. My pastor at church always says, share what you know. Well, me being me, I didn't know much. I maybe knew one or two things about God, so I looked up I made a script about what I knew and turned it into something fun. But now that I am so far into this journey, now I'm so far into this journey, I could just ramble off all day about temptation. So this video is gonna be short because I don't have a lot to do for temptation. But temptation is real. Temptation is normal, but there are ways to stop the temptation. Like I said, get up and move, worship, read and study the Bible, do a devotional, and then pray. You don't have to do it in that. It could be do a video game and then listen to worship music while you're playing the video game, or listen to worship music while you're drawing. Read a book about a movie that interests you. Watch your favorite movie that glorifies God, or does. It doesn't even have to glorify God, as long as it doesn't disglorify God, or whatever it means, whatever that word is. Do something to get your mind off the temptation that you enjoy. Don't do what I enjoy. Do what you enjoy. That was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a short video, but temptation, I could talk about temptation all day, and I might as well do it right now. But temptation is normal. Temptation is a thing. Everybody goes through temptation, no matter if you're Christian or not. But there are ways to fix it. And I'm going to pray over you. I might make up some things because I don't really want to end this video yet, but I don't really know what else to say through temptation. So I'm going to pray over you for this for a minute. I might jumble up my words and pause and be like, well, what do I want to say now? Because I don't ever know what to say. So bear with me while I pray over you. You do not have to bow your head and do all that. I just want you to listen, and then I'll pray over you, and then I'll give you a little encouragement about temptation, and then this video will be over with. Dear Lord, Father Jesus, I pray that you will help anybody that is watching this video that is dealing with temptation. Help them find their way of dealing with their temptation and stop doing that temptation. I pray that anybody who is just now finding my videos uses my videos as a guide and uses my videos as a help. I pray that this video goes somewhere. I pray that you help anybody with temptation in this world. I pray that you give everybody that is watching their own way to get rid of temptation with what they enjoy, and I pray you put in their hearts when it comes to temptation that they need to do something about it. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. See, not that hard. Now I'm going to give you guys a little encouragement, then it'll be the end of this video. Like I said in the beginning, this video was going to be short because temptation is short and temptation is not short. But I don't have much to say about temptation other than temptation is real, temptation is normal, and there are ways to fight the temptation. This is how I fight the temptation. This is how you can fight the temptation. Do what pleases you to stop the temptation, and then I prayed over you. Now I'm going to give you an encouragement. And this has nothing to do with temptation. It's just been something that I've been going through here lately, and I need to hear somebody say it out loud, so I'm going to hear myself say it out loud. If you have been following God for a long time, you might be the only Bible somebody ever reads. I'm the only Bible that my whole household is probably gonna ever read. Which is normal. People can follow what they want to follow. But you are you make your own decisions. It is your choice to follow God, not nobody else's. God brings you in it no matter where you're at in life. You could be 60 years old and God brings you into his kingdom and you become a Christian. You could be 5 years old and God brings you into his kingdom. You could be my age. You could be basically probably on your deathbed and God says, I'm going to save you. You're no longer going to be on your deathbed and you are part of his family now. You could be anywhere in life and God is still going to bring you into it. I am going to be praying over you, all of you, for the rest of this week and probably all of next week. And if you are into this kind of stuff, sorry. If you are into the praying kind of stuff or you want to get into the praying kind of stuff, I challenge you to pray over somebody in your family. From now till next Thursday, I want you to pray over somebody in your family, no matter if they're Christian or not. I want you from every night, from today till next Thursday, pray about the same person, but change how you pray every night. Because you know how one prayer could change everything. Got it? Good. Okay. In the comments, I want you guys to comment your favorite Bible verse, and comment some ways that you get rid of your temptation. And that was today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Bye!